Welcome to the Business Bites Podcast, the podcast for busy entrepreneurs. Whether you're an online entrepreneur or seeking after brick and mortar success, this podcast brings you quick bites of content so you can learn and grow anywhere you are. Now here's your host, Rachel Brainke.
Welcome to this episode of the Business Bites Podcast. I am your host, as always, Rachel Brainke. I am a lawyer and MBA. I run multiple brands and I have 5 children. So my recommendations are always so that you guys can get a successful business quickly, efficiently, and get back to having a quality of life. When you're starting a business, there are probably 101 things to do on your to-do list and probably seemingly endless expenses. There are business plans to develop, business licenses to obtain, copyrights and trademarks to consider, taxes to research, and on and on. It may seem like the majority of these steps are legal in nature that I'm going to walk you guys through, and you might be wondering if you need to contact an attorney for help. Yes, starting a business is already expensive and hiring an attorney can be costly, but it may be well worth it. I'm giving you guys this perspective not because I'm an attorney, but because I'm a business owner and an attorney. I can tell you which things I think are best that you can get some insight on and do it yourself, or other things that I absolutely recommend that you need to get help from an attorney on. Legal disclaimer as always, I am an attorney. I'm not your attorney unless we want to do that. And in that case, I can help you guys. You just have to contact me through rachelbrainke.com and we can figure all of that out. But really, how can an attorney help you when you're in this whole business startup phase? Whether or not you want to utilize an attorney will really vastly depend on your specific circumstances, including what your business is, the type of business structure you use, and the comfort level dealing with things on your own. Some of the most common ways that attorneys can help you guys in starting your business include the business setup, such as business structure, permits and licenses, taxes, real estate matters, etc. The second is financing, such as obtaining investors, negotiating loan terms, etc., etc. And also, kind of little side note in the financing portion, I definitely recommend that it's important for your financials to consult with a certified public accountant, but it's always best if you can manage having a CPA and attorney so you guys can evaluate a lot of these different inner workings and how they all work together. I caution you not just to go to a CPA for business setup because oftentimes while they are fabulous when it comes to tax matters, they may not only fully understand the formation matters and the liability things that we want to try to do to protect you on the business structure and setup side. But the third common way that attorneys can assist you guys in starting your business is the day-to-day business needs, contracts, negotiation, terms of service, which I just talked about in the last episode. You can find that at rachelbrainke.com, and employment matters. But just because an attorney can assist you in these matters does not mean that you have to hire an attorney for all of them or any of them, but that depends on your case specifically. So when do we want to use an attorney then? Let's go over the most basic steps of setting up a business and see where an attorney would be beneficial. The first is in your business and marketing plans. These plans are often completed without the assistance of an attorney. So don't freak out if you didn't have one. If you do plan to seek help from an attorney for certain aspects, it will be helpful to complete your plans prior to meeting with one. By doing so, you guys are going to have a clear idea of what business structure you want. You'll have thought of any potential liabilities in your services and or products. You'll have determined whether or not you'll need a retail space or a studio space or office space. And making these decisions in advance of contacting an attorney will actually save you guys time while meeting with them, and it will save you money, especially for those attorneys that bill by the hour. The second thing is looking at business name and registration. Registration can be done by incorporating your business, filing of doing business as or DBA, or registering a trademark. Now, that is kind of all encompassing. It does break out a little bit. I do want to note that just because you set up your business does not mean that your business name is automatically trademarked, and trademarking does not automatically form your business. I kind of lumped everything into one little pot here, but just know there are multiple breakouts that you need to do. So you need to set up your business, whether you go by sole proprietor, LLC, or a corporation. And then with that, you've got your name choice. And then also on the other side, considering registering a trademark. All methods can be completed without an attorney and generally have instructions on how to accomplish these on your government website. However, when it comes to the trademark aspect or generating of an operating agreement for an LLC or bylaws for your corporation, those are the aspects that I really recommend that you have an attorney help you with. So if you're thinking, oh, great, I can parse it out and just do the formation aspect and have an attorney do the other parts, don't just jump ahead and go ahead and do it yourself. Contact an attorney because they may actually do all of that on a reduced amount basis, and then you won't have to go through the heartache of figuring out how to fill out the articles of organization for your LLC, etc. So there are things such as the business setup and identifying your business name that you guys can do on your own, but consider checking it out first and then inquiring to an attorney because they may do it all for you in one fell swoop. The third thing is incorporation. A business does not need to be incorporated, but depending on your business, it may be beneficial. For example, if you guys own a tree cutting business, you cut down a tree and it falls on a car, you may be liable for the damages. If you've incorporated your tree cutting business, then the person suing will only be able to recoup their losses from your business and not necessarily from personally held assets such as your home. Unless you go down the road of something called piercing the corporate veil, which is way beyond what we're going to talk about right here. But if you choose to incorporate, there are a variety of business structures to choose from. I kind of already mentioned them a little bit ago. You've got a sole proprietor, which, side note, is not incorporation. Neither is LLC, but you can also take an LLC at a state level and then incorporate at the federal level. You can get tax benefits that way, but still have that separate liability protection like we just talked about. So when you're cutting down that tree, you still may be shielded as well. And then you have the incorporation, which typically refers to just corporations. An attorney can help you determine which structure would be most beneficial to you and navigate any negotiation that you may need in forming. The unfortunate part is the more complex your business structure, the more helpful an attorney is going to be. The less likely you're going to be able to do it on your own. So if it's just you, a sole proprietor is pretty straightforward. A single member LLC, or a single manager LLC rather, is pretty straightforward for the most part. But if you get into like a partnership of multiple people, that's when you definitely need to get an attorney involved. The fourth thing is licenses and permits. Depending on your business, you may need one or a ton of licenses and or permits. Most jurisdictions at a minimum require a business license. So in addition, your particular business might require more specific licenses and permits on top of the business formation that we just talked about a little bit ago. For example, this is common sense, but you will need a medical license to practice medicine. But on a more regular note, a food handler's permit is going to be required to open a restaurant. The fifth thing is legal business documents. An attorney can help you draft legal documents to protect your business. This is the one area, as well as the incorporation and the trademark, that I do strongly suggest that you guys do not do it yourself. Self-drafting legal documents is really scary, and as an attorney, I'm having to clean up this mess all the time. You don't necessarily know how legal theories work. There's a reason that I went through the hazing called law school for 3 years, and then I now have sat and successfully passed 2 different bars at the first time. But the reason for that is because there's a lot that goes into it, and guys will not understand that. No matter how much you Google, you're not necessarily going to have a full view. And I don't want you guys to draft against yourself or make a contract end up being an invalid document, and then in the end, in order to defend or execute or enforce, rather, your document, you're going to be having to spend a lot more money on an attorney. It's just cheaper in the front end to prevent any issues rather than having to play cleanup on aisle 4 later. For example, though, these attorneys can draft contracts, service agreements, warranties, and warnings, disclaimers, and all sorts of things that you guys need. Now, a side note here, you know that I have multiple brands. I have the Law Talk for photographers, Blog Legally for online entrepreneurs and bloggers, and then Fit Legally for fitness professionals. I've got disclaimer resources over there that can help get you guys started. And while you likely can find this contract template online and some tailor it to your business, an attorney may be able to help you determine which documents you truly need and actually tailor them to your specific business and local laws. Number 6, we need to take into tax considerations. It is possible to determine what taxes are owed and any tax liabilities to be aware of on your own. But, however, a qualified tax attorney or a CPA would probably do a more thorough job and a lot faster. If your business can avoid future IRS issues, it is money well spent to get the assistance at the start. You don't want to have to call an attorney for the very first time when you're faced with a lawsuit. A little bit of investment at the start can save you a lot of money and trouble down the road. So, by utilizing an attorney in some of the above matters, you may be able to save yourself an audit and reliability lawsuit. Now, I understand that affording an attorney's help is probably easier said than done. And if you went through the above sections, you're probably already panicking, but that's okay. So, one thing I do want you guys to keep in mind is that a lot of attorneys offer a free consult at the first meeting to determine if they can adequately assist you and if you'll get along at a personal level. This will help you feel confident hiring the attorney before you spend any money. And in this meeting, you can ask for an estimate of the services discussed so you're not surprised later. Second, by being prepared with a well thought out business plan and having questions ready before you meet with an attorney, you can save a lot of time and a lot of money. Third, some attorneys offer flat fees instead of hourly rates for certain business matters such as incorporation. I know this is one of the services that I do offer, not under the Rachel Brinke or any of my other brands, but I am working with a law firm in order to provide these services for you guys. And then fourth, some attorneys offer monthly fees for a certain amount of hours per month. This will allow you to contact an attorney when you have questions without seeing dollar signs fly by with each minute that you're on the call with them. So the determination of when to call an attorney while starting your business is immensely personal, and it's going to depend greatly on your circumstances. Remember, a lot of the grunt work, like filings, can be done on your own, but it may be worth asking an attorney just exactly what you have to file so you don't end up having to fix it or deal with fees, fines, or other legal issues in the end.
Thanks for joining Rachel on this episode of The Business Bites. For show notes, a list of recommended tools, or referenced episodes, you can find them at businessbitespodcast.com. Until next time.